Hey friends, this is your friend Jay. I'm going to talk a little bit about, I want to give an update basically on my tinnitus. You might have seen previous videos. I've posted a few in the last few years, and boy, things have changed and it just keeps getting better and better. I'm pleased to report, and I do this because there's an overwhelming number of really negative comments about people with tinnitus, and not enough positive, and it's disproportionate to actual real world experience you'll learn when you actually meet and talk to people who have it. Um, so just to summarize again, I have had this for 6 years now, tinnitus. The first few years, I've habituated, I've adapted. It's almost insignificant in my life on a daily basis. I'm pleased to say, and I think it can be for you, most of you too. First few years, unbearable, really unbearable. Um, Time is on your side. Unfortunately, the adaptation and habituation process is very, very slow. There are certain things you can do to speed that up. I won't go into those details because I think I've mentioned them elsewhere, and so have others in their videos that are also fantastic and positive and supportive. But I will say this. I'm in a place now after 6 years where I can actually sleep in a quiet room, and I can actually sleep without medication. Because I had to actually take medication to sleep for a while because that ringing was ridiculously loud. But when, soon after I got tinnitus, I started studying a lot about neuroscience and neuroplasticity and a whole host of other things related to the brain, like psychology, NLP, hypnosis, and whatever. What I've come to learn is the brain is it's your healing mechanism. It is very neuroplastic in that it can tolerate a lot of suffering and find over time a way to sort of rewire, and you have to contribute consciously to this too, but it happens at a subconscious level too, to rewire to not see this as a threat and to be less bothered. And even then the volume of it goes down, although I'm not indicating there's a cure and it's going to go away. But when we habituate to this degree, we don't really care if it goes away or not because we're not bothered by it. And you may feel that you can never get to that point because we all were there, and I felt like that too early on. When someone told me this kind of stuff, I thought, that's total bunk. There ain't no way this is going to happen. You know how loud this is? 24/7? I have it 24/7, okay? Not like intermittently a cricket here and there, like 24/7. So be hopeful. The best thing that you can do for yourself and force yourself to do it to promote habituation and just get on with your life, quality of life, is to try and be as calm as possible, because you already probably have read the correlation between stress and anxiety and tinnitus perception of symptoms, and also be as cheerful as possible. It helps the tinnitus, and it's just a good way to get better habits to go through your day-to-day life and improve your quality of life. But I've gotten to that point. I wanted to give you that update. It doesn't mean that there aren't occasionally like these spikes that come up, or I hear something loud suddenly. I'm walking and someone honks a horn next to me and it irritates things. But I know that it is really that. It's an irritation of something. It is temporary. Those bouts of flare-ups used to be longer in duration. Traveling used to be a problem, for example. I almost couldn't enjoy vacations and had to limit business travel for years because of the plane noise and everything, and I would arrive and I would be irritated, and then it would bother me the whole time, and then I couldn't sleep, and I'd come back, and for several weeks after, sometimes longer, it would still be irritated. But now those sort of flare up periods are a lot less. It's like a few hours or a day or two. So, and it's not suffering to the degree that it used to. And a day or two you can handle it. I understand. Tolerate it, right? When it gets to be a week, 2 weeks, a month of this thing, it seems intolerable and unbearable and tremendously burdensome and an amazing amount of suffering. But just know what others have said is right. I'm not saying anything they haven't said. I'm giving my own account of it. That it will get better. It will get better. I'm not saying the volume will go down. I'm not saying it will go away. I'm saying your brain can rewire to accept it and cope and move on and dwell on it less and focus more on other things, and life goes on in a happy, productive way until whatever the next thing in life comes up. But I just mentioned something called acceptance, and that's really important, guys. The sooner you get to the state of going, this is here maybe forever and I'm just going to accept it, you fight it less, you make the most progress. And I'll tell you something else, because I've done a lot of tests to try and help myself out. Initial stages, people recommend things like masking and trying to get your mind off and tuning out and distracting yourself and so on and so forth, and I did that too for years. Last year I tried an experiment where I tried to actually, even if initially just for a few minutes at a time, to actually actively listen to my tinnitus. To sit in a quiet room and listen to it and see how loud it would be and go, okay, this is as loud as it's going to get? Okay. And lie down at night in silence and listen to it. And I know that's difficult to do. But I recommend it. It's the single biggest thing that I've done that's led to the most progress in habituation out of anything else that I've done. And but a few minutes at a time. I can actually go now a whole day if I want in bed in silence and lie there relaxed peacefully. Can you believe that? With what was debilitating tinnitus for 6 years so far, and 24/7. So isn't that amazing? And I have to believe that if I can do that, then you can do that too. So I would say be hopeful. Always be hopeful. Better days are ahead, I'm sure. But just know time is on your side in terms of it gets better over time, but it is a very slow process. So I'm in a I have it still, but I'm in a very, very good place with it. It does not, it really doesn't impact my life. There's small lifestyle changes that I've kind of gotten used to now. I don't go to concerts, I don't go to loud bars and things of that nature, but that's a number of things off the table. There's so much more I can do now each and every day and move on with my life. So again, if I